Mr. Corbett, what is your assessment of how Gaddafi's brutal end was portrayed by some of the world's major news channels?
Well, sadly, I don't think it's very surprising how it was portrayed, and that's an indictment of the Western media. But again, it's not really surprising to people who saw, for example, the way that Osama bin Laden's death was portrayed in the Western media as just an opportunity for, I guess, crass celebration rather than any type of introspection or soul searching. And of course, in the Libyan instance, it's even more apparent just the hypocrisy behind it. This supposed humanitarian intervention that was supposedly about protecting civilians has now turned into reports of the NTC fighters committing mass atrocities in Sirte against civilians, including Gaddafi himself. So there's absolutely no pause for thought or introspection in any of the mainstream media reporting that I've seen, and that really is to the detriment of the media itself. Although, again, as I say, it's not really surprising, and unfortunately, it's turned into a left-right political spectrum type thing, where unfortunately the liberal left in America seems to have bought on wholesale to the extension of American military might around the globe as this unadulterated good that's bringing happiness.
Right. Let's talk about Gaddafi's family's reaction. I mean, they want NATO to answer war crimes charges over what they regard as his deliberate killing. What do you think their chances are?
Well, I would say their chances are slim to none, but I would be happy to be proven wrong in this instance. But as we've talked about before, I think the International Criminal Court is really just an extension of NATO, the NATO powers' foreign policy, and I really don't think that this suit has much of a chance of getting anywhere. But again, it exposes the hypocrisy of the International Criminal Court, which managed to indict Gaddafi, despite not a single person from the prosecutor's office so much as stepping foot in Libya to check on any of the charges that that had been brought against him. But of course, now that we have this documented atrocity, this war crime that had been committed of executing a prisoner, I would very much doubt that this is going to go anywhere. But again, I'd be happy to be proven wrong on that point.
Okay, let's talk about NATO staying on in Libya. I mean, the NTC, they want NATO to stay in Libya to the end of the year, and it's now considering it. Does NATO have to stay?
Well, at this point, one wonders what would happen in any event. It seems like Libya is a country that's been broken and shattered, and unfortunately, the pieces are quite dangerous. We know that there are weapons reserves that are now unguarded and are just sitting there, and we know that the Al-Qaeda affiliated forces, the NTC, have really taken charge of the country. So it is a destabilization that has happened, and the question is who is going to stabilize the country. So I think really the destabilization was part of a foreseen, it was certainly not something that was unforeseen. So I think this is part of a strategy for getting NATO to stay. So again, it's not surprising that the NTC have asked their NATO buddies to stay on until the end of the year, and presumably longer if the case need be. So I think the question of how to stabilize Libya is at this point a very good one, and I don't know what the answer to that is, but it seems that NATO forces have been the ones destabilizing the country and bombing civilians and causing such atrocities that I don't think that they're going to be part of the solution for the Libyan people.
Yeah, but given the current circumstances, I mean, the NTC is there right now. Do you think they are capable of bringing that stability that Libya needs right now? I mean, human rights groups are ringing the alarm about the atrocities apparently committed by the NTC fighters. Of course, this goes both ways as well. So do you think they're capable?
Certainly not. Certainly not. And I think that's been apparent since the beginning, because they never enjoyed the support of the majority of the tribes in Libya, whereas Gaddafi was obviously able to keep the country together for decades. So we've gone from a regime of whatever sort that it was, that was at least stable and enjoyed some of the highest living standards in all of Africa, to now a regime that self-evidently is incapable of keeping a country together without the military might of NATO backing them up. And I don't think anyone can argue that things have actually substantially improved for the Libyan people in all of this. So again, I'm not sure what the solution is, but I think the solution cannot be to have more of the problem that created this whole mess in the first place, which is the NATO-backed NTC forces.
Right. Okay. And as you mentioned, you do have a correspondent in Tripoli. We're talking about arms. You mentioned that earlier, and she said, our correspondent there says that Libyans are heavily armed. You walk to 2 blocks, you see a lot of arms, weapons, and the country's in a state of flux right now. Do you think we will see another violent struggle between various tribal factions? This has been raised over and over. What do you think?
I think it's almost a foregone conclusion, considering how deeply divided Libyan society is along tribal lines, and to have these factions now basically not united behind any one leader, because the NTC obviously is not does not enjoy the support of the entire country. I think it's a very dangerous situation, which of course raises the possibility of some sort of civil war and strife, and again raises the question, what's going to be done about it? And unfortunately, I think NATO has positioned themselves to try to be the peacekeeping force involved here. So again, it's a win-win for the NATO forces that wanted to destabilize and effectively occupy the country, and lose for the Libyan people who were enjoying some of the highest living standards in all of Africa.
All right. Thanks very much for your thoughts there, independent journalist James Corbett. Thank you.